Welcome, everybody. I'm here with Jonathan Palmer. Jonathan Palmer, if you don't know him, he's gone from almost nothing to skyrocketing. What do you have, 50,000 followers now, Jonathan?
We're approaching it. We're getting close to it. So, yeah, it's been a wild 2020 has been wild for everybody, but I guess it's been incredibly special for me.
It has. Now, I want to get into your background because you're a professional wrestler. You're a forensic accountant, and now you're a content, I don't like to use the word guru, but you're a content person who knows the ins and outs behind the scene so you can reach people in a way that's creative within a short period of time and give them actual information that's practical that they can apply after watching your 2-3 minute video.
Right.
So tell me the journey.
Yeah. So the whole thing is it's funny how life works out and how I was able, when I became a professional wrestler and I got let go, when I became a forensic accountant and I just didn't see how this fit into the picture, now how all of those experiences have kind of come together, with the professional wrestling, there's a lot of theatrics, it's an orchestrated sport. And there's a lot of promo work and such. With the forensic accounting, that was more of a business background. It gave me a foundation to understand the mind of a lot of the people on LinkedIn when it comes to business. And then to be able to combine those two cool things, and then with the backing of a Shea Rowbottom to give it some, social media structure, now I've been able to translate that onto LinkedIn. So, essentially, I consider myself a content creator. We create. It's there is an art form to it. There is a certain style to capturing people's attention, but that's probably been the most interesting part of this whole experience is how, what is it that people want to see? How can we capture their attention? How can we get leads to their businesses? And that's something that I really want to dive into.
Okay, awesome. Well, he said some really cool things. I don't know if you all picked this up, because we can, and I did this, we can be so fixated on wanting to get to a certain place in our life that we don't understand that what we're going through that may suck, or a death of a dream may actually give us the experience to do something better when we get to the next step. Shay told me something real similar too. She spent time with a company just editing in the background. She didn't really enjoy it. That's not her strength, but it gave her the skill set she needed to go to the next step in her life. So when you can put content together, you do the opposite of what Gary Vee does, which is interesting. Because you put out content, is it twice a week?
Twice a week,
okay?
Yes.
Because Gary's he'll talk to someone, hey, just put out content on LinkedIn 29 times a day, okay?
Chaz, can I ask you something?
Yes.
When was the last time, do you have kids?
I do. They're grown.
They're grown. Great. Right. Even better. When was the last time you talked to your son or daughter?
I got a text from my son last night.
Right. When was the last time you talked to them? Over the phone for 5 minutes?
He came over for Red Zone NFL 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, right. So this is the way that I approach social media, right? If you would not talk to your son over the phone 3 times a day, what makes you think that I want to see your face on LinkedIn 3 times a day? You would not talk to your own blood that often. What makes you think that I want to see you on social media that often, right? So that is how I approach social media. I always do it from the perspective of how often do we really want to see these people? I love Gary Vaynerchuk, but the thing about a Gary Vaynerchuk is, number one, he's built a very large brand. He can kind of get away with it. Number two, he has a very large social media team. So, he can play you a different song, but it still kind of carries the same tune.
Right.
And it's still the same face. But because his team is a bunch of different creative people, they can all put their own, form of art out there. So the content doesn't look alike that it may look if it were you or myself. Right. That our teams are a little bit smaller, right? So, that's my deal. if you wouldn't talk to your own family as often as I'm seeing you on social media, then that's how you know you're putting out too much.
I'm putting out too much. And I'm telling you, so according to Jonathan, so very interesting. Now,
and also I wanted to share one last thing.
Go ahead.
Comments are content. So
yes.
I am on LinkedIn 7 days a week, but I spend 90% of my time giving back. And I think that is how I've built an audience so quickly. I spend the entire week supporting other people, liking their posts, getting inspiration through their content. So then when my Monday, my Thursday posts come out, they really hit with a bang. They really make an impact.
That is so huge. I came into LinkedIn, and I've literally spent over 13,000 hours on LinkedIn. I
Wow.
came with a jacked up sales background, former spammer, on LinkedIn. I tell my clients this too.
Admitting it.
Yeah,
I'm proud for you admitting it.
I was, and it's like, throw the spaghetti against the wall, something will stick. And through the process, now our sales process and marketing process, the first step is the intention to serve. And people don't realize you have your content up here, which everyone focuses on. And I think you even said one time about the lurkers,
Yes, the likers versus the lurkers. Yeah.
Right. And what is it, like 98% of people, very high percentage, they go into the comments and they learn from you. The lurkers, as Jonathan would say, they look to learn about you and how you're responding to the people that are engaging on your content, as well as how you're engaging in other people's content.
Right.
You want to hear a cool story?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we talked about Gary Vaynerchuk. So I go to his content and I actually get more people following me by commenting, augmenting, because his posts are usually like, do this and everything will be solved, one sentence. And so I'll augment, great point, and I have found X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden it's like,
I love that.
And and all of a sudden, because I know my target market goes to his content. And so if I comment on his content, they'll look at my comment if there's value, and then they start following me.
Right.
So there's so many things. Now you're talking about commenting on other people's content. Is that right?
Yes.
So give us an example. So you do content twice a week, and then you're going to other people's content 7 days a week, 6 days a week?
7 days a week. And at a minimum, this sounds crazy, but it's also very Gary V-esque. I spend an average of about 8 hours a day on LinkedIn. About 8 hours. Yeah. So that is scrolling the feed, getting inspiration. We have like the boot camp. So I want to ensure that the information that I provide to the people that are paying for our service get as much value as they possibly can. So, but my big secret, the way that I have built an army of people that anticipate my content. They're in my inbox. They're waiting for it. They're like, where's your video? Where's your video? The way that I did it is, and this is my big secret behind that, I found a bunch of
Take notes, everybody. Hold on a second. Let me get my pen. Hold on a second here.
I found a bunch of small creators that did not have any engagement on their posts. And I would blow up their posts. And then I would get other people, because now they're seeing on their feed, like they're seeing that I'm engaging with this very small creator. So now I'm bringing attention to the small creator, right? And so
helpless.
And they, of course, they feel like, oh my gosh, like this person is trying to help me. This person's trying to help me build. So they feel a lot of like, affinity for like someone like myself. So, now they're like a fan. Not only that, but when you're a small creator, when you're just starting out, when you only have like 200 or 300 connections, my post guaranteed is going to be in your feed every single time. Right. Because you don't have enough connections for it to be that mine won't come up, especially if my videos are doing well. So I would recommend to anybody in the audience listening, go find those small creators, make them your best friend, and build yourself an army of people to support your content. And that is like how you win the long game.
Law of reciprocity. And I tell, being a former spammer, And with how I talk for myself and for my clients, you got to play the long game. And if you play the long game, things will happen quickly. If you try to play the short game, making it all about you, you're just going to repel. People don't understand. I want to segue to messages because you talk about this a lot.
Yes, yes.
Hi, John, or hi, Chaz. It's like, I work. What do you do for a living? It's like, I mean, there's just some
Doesn't work.
crazy things in the algorithm. Have you noticed this? I've noticed this over the last couple months. Within the messages, now Facebook does this. In LinkedIn, it will tie to your content. So So if you're messaging someone, they'll see your content. But if you are there to all about you, you're going to repel them. So if you try to play the short game, which doesn't exist because it ain't going to happen, and you try to sell yourself or your services, which is jacked up, okay?
Right.
I learned the hard way. And I'm a little bit slower than most, but over 13,000 hours, I'd be an absolute imbecile if I didn't develop a strategy, right?
Right.
That worked. You're building this following of people, and you will repel them or attract them. Right. So talk about the people that are reaching out to you, and maybe some fun messages that you've thought about.
Oh my God. Like I've done some videos about like the weird messages I get, and I got a few more coming because they just get weirder and weirder with time. But I will say, most people are not living in their inbox because it's just, your inbox has a reputation of being like just a spam folder. That's like what people have turned it into, right?
Yes.
So my recommendation is always share somebody's content. Like, let's say that there's like this ideal client that you want to work with. Right. Share their post. Why share? Because, you know, the likes are easy to get. The comments, somewhat easy. To get shares on your post, rare. People will typically not share your content, like the actual share button, right? So I noticed that, like, let's say that I get like 80 or 90 shares, but I get 600 comments. I'm more inclined to comment on the share that somebody shared my content and leave a nice message to them. Hey, thanks for sharing my post, you know, whatever. Because it's just like, it's the area where there's the least attention. So, yes. You know, if there's like an ideal client that you have in mind, like my recommendation before you ever send them a message, go share their content, be in their comments section, bring value to that person, help them project their message to more people by engaging in their content. And you build a relationship like that. Chaz, like even on your own content, have you like developed, like, do you have like your own group of people that you know are there for your content?
Yes.
You probably know them by name at this point, right?
Yes, most definitely.
So yeah, and like like now, if one of those people told you, hey, could we jump on a quick Zoom call? I just want to pick your brain, you know, 5-10 minutes. Would you say yes?
Well, the pick, I have a little bit of a pet peeve with the pick.
I don't like, you know what, like as I was saying, I was like, pick your brain. I'm like, oh.
I get those pick your brain
pick
things.
Your brain.
Just like,
yeah.
Yeah, I get the pick your brain thing. I'm like, if what Jonathan's saying is perfect. With you use emotional intelligence, you're commenting on people's comments or content, and then you use information from their profile. It doesn't take you very long. My clients, 10 messages, schedule 1 qualified appointment based on their background, their information, their activity. And if you engage in someone's activity and you say, I appreciate your post, and you're not connected, guess what? They're going to connect with you. Let's go back to the inbox, because I've seen a trend. It's going down, 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 down as far as people in their inbox. Right. There's more and more people going into LinkedIn each and every day. LinkedIn has a new CEO as of June, and they are putting spam filters into the messaging. So do you, as far as your role with Shay, is it Shay Robottom Marketing? Is that the company you work for? I know she has the healing division and all that stuff. Yeah. So is your strategy with your content, is it attracting people into your inbox? Are you using the DMs to reach out to people as well? Where do most of your people come from as far as qualified prospective clients who want the boot camp?
Yeah, it's to give some perspective. We do zero outbound, no outbound. So I will never reach out to somebody and say, "I think that you should use the boot camp, or maybe this would bring you value." My content is that is serving that purpose. It's going to find the people that are inspired. Because here's the thing, this is what I learned, and it's a great story. My dad's an accountant, right? And what's interesting about accountants is this is not a rule. I just find that it's more common for them to be kind of like backwards thinking, because accountants, we joke about it, we work backwards. We're auditing things that have already happened as opposed to thinking about the future, right? So you do find like a lot of accountants are laggards. They're not going to be the first in line to get the new iPhone. They're fine with their flip phone. They're trying to save money, not necessarily make it sometimes. So when it comes to that subject, what I've learned is, I cannot convince my dad the value of doing Shay's boot camp. So the point is that I need to find people that understand the value of it. That is why the inbound is so important. There are people that reach out to us and say, listen, I get it. I know that I need to be on LinkedIn. I know that I need to build a personal brand. I like the idea of being able to do video. Where do I sign up? I don't have to convince anybody.
Right.
They're already on board, so that when they become a customer, it's like, okay, here you go. You know the deal. It's going to be X, Y, and Z. They're already on board. There's nobody's getting a refund because nobody wants one. They love it because they're already emotionally invested in it. So I think that when you can have clients like that, that's a great position to be in, because again, it kind of sells itself. But here's the downside. My video, and I don't know if people realize it, it takes 12 hours to create. So if it is not successful and if it does not get leads, then I lost, 24 hours in my work week. So a lot of the pressure is on us to develop the best content possible to drive just the inbound side. So that's a backstage view of how it works.
Yeah, well, I like that. And at 12 hours, I know that. I thought you were spending like eight or more. I know there's a lot. And I can take from you and with my content, because what I do with my content is I put something out there. I don't, from my background in sales, it's usually quick. I usually trim the front and back and whatnot, but I can definitely improve that.
You know what it is? It's actually laziness on my side.
The 12 hours is?
It's late. Yes, it's actually lazy. This will make a great piece of content.
Explain that.
It sounds like an oxymoron. It's lazy. I don't want to spend the time doing cold calls. Yeah. I don't want to spend the time looking for leads. And if you did the math, the time that you would spend in trying to find the right people, in contacting them, in, how many calls are not going to go anywhere, how many calls you're going to have to follow up with them, I eliminate all of that. So I'm actually lazy. I just want the really good people to come to us. If I spend extra time doing my content, then it avoids a lot of that cold calling sales process and just directs the people that are going to be interested. So
and they experience it for themselves. And so on content, because I do 5 pillars, and content's the centerpiece pillar that helps with authority. So when they come through our process, they experience it for themselves. And it's actually better than, and I'm sure for you too, it's better than getting a referral. Now, I'll take referrals any day. But when they experience the process, the strategy for themselves, and then you talk to them and they understand they're going to do the exact same thing, it sounds like, it's like, hey, I'm going to do this and this works. And so you teach people in the boot camp basically what you do. So with the video, they're going to attract people to them. And is it always the kind of the fast, cut style that used to be known most for YouTube that you guys teach them?
I personally have gotten away from it a little bit, not myself. I still do a lot of it, but I've gotten away from teaching it because what I'm starting to recognize, and this is just, spending time on the phone with these clients, spending time, trying to understand who they really are and what they're really about. It doesn't work for everybody. Do you actually find that the older demographics, the 50 and over, they don't really like the jump cuts? It's actually really distracting. and it really takes away from the message because it's just moving at 100 miles per hour. So, I've really catered it to, I need to understand if your target market is not going to resonate with that style, then we make it different. We take out some of the visuals. We make it more impactful. We make it more value-based. So, like one thing that I've really focused on is bringing the boot camp to the people as opposed to them coming to us. When I can hop on a call and really understand what their pain points are, what they really need, and who they're talking to, that is when it goes from, hey, do X, Y, and Z. No, here's how you will get to X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to give you a clear path to get there.
Nice. Okay, so they're not forcing a square peg into a round hole.
Right.
No, let's do like 2 minutes of rapid fire questions as we close up, and then you can tell everyone. You can tell everyone where to get to the boot camp. So, the best time length for your video should be how long?
1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Whoa!
I break my own rules.
Whoa! I just thought that was going to be like 2 minutes. Okay, why 1 minute?
1 minute because, especially when you're just starting out, people are not invested in you. 9 times out of 10, we keep talking because of ego, not because of the value we're trying to bring. We want to say more things because we want to flex how smart we are. But the reality is, listen, you can fit it into a minute. It's just you like the sound of your own voice.
Yes, I love that. So the purpose of the content that you're putting out should be what? You're talking to the audience right now. Why are they putting content out?
I believe like you should view it from the perspective of you're trying to make friends. When you put it from the vantage point of you're trying to make friends, you're just trying to care and love people, bring them value, be there for them, you get so much further than just trying to add another connection.
Okay, so friends and then value, do you think it's friendship or something that they could take away? Which one is more important? Or as I saw one of your video, it's like you did the different, reactions. It's like, look at the reactions. You had the clap hands and then the different things.
Right.
So should it be a mixture of those things that you're systematically doing throughout the week? Now you are only twice, but for other people. So friendship, people know you, like you, trust you, and build you or see you as an authority. Are those mixed in at different pieces, or how do you see that with people who are putting out content?
I literally treat it like an episode of Mr. Rogers. It's like he was a trusted friend. Yes, dude, wasn't it great? He's a trusted friend, but you always learn something about humanity. There was always a message behind a friendly voice. And I feel like that's what I've turned this into. You want a trusted friend, but at the same time, some type of valuable message behind a message behind the meeting. There's like something behind it that can support it. So
would you recommend taking a strategy from SpongeBob's Opposite Day?
I actually remember SpongeBob's Opposite Day. I guess I was around for that, but no, I would here's the only advice that I would not take from SpongeBob is, know when to evolve, know when to shift. Like the SpongeBob model doesn't work because it's just, I have the feeling that show's never going to end. It's just going to go forever. So, yeah.
So the Opposite Day, and I use this, is just to do the opposite of what most people do. And this is usually within direct messaging. Yeah.
Okay. No, and I really want to get this point across. I think that this is important. When I was starting out, I know I was the same as everybody else. Gary Vee told me you have to create, X amount of content every single day. And I said, man, if there's one thing that I could teach people, if there's one point I can get across is you can be incredibly successful with 2 posts a week. I want to end that stigma that you have to create content every single day to be relevant. No, you have to be on the platform every day. You don't have to be creating content every day. So, that was something that was incredibly important to me because in terms of burnout and in terms of longevity, you're gonna be around a lot longer if you really make 2 meaningful posts a week as opposed to posting every day and just like spamming everybody's LinkedIn feed.
So how do you do that? Because I'm struggling with that because I have Gary Vee in my head. It's right now. What I hear? You can't have quality without quantity, right? He says it all the time. You can't have quality without quantity. And I put out content every day. It has been.
Who
It's like, oh my
decides?
gosh, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
My eyes are like this. It's like,
And then
gotta,
my counter to that is, because it's also Gary Vee's advice, who dictates quality?
that the audience, right?
The audience dictates quality.
Right.
But at the end, like at the end of the day, like it's your truth. It's your message, right?
Right.
So you have your own key perspective. You have your own different perspective. Even if you were to create, let's say 100 pieces of content, your first, 100 days or whatever it is, like now you're collecting data from 100 days. Like I can't think of anybody that has actually sat down with 100 pieces of content and created a strategy based off of it to say, okay, well, this is what worked and this is what didn't work. I can learn just by commenting on people's content what's working and what's not. Just like you have. You learned by commenting on Gary Vee's content, oh, wow, well, when I say this in his comment section, it seems to resonate. I could create a piece of content about this. So there's so many different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, you have to be happy with the work that you do, because if you're not happy with it, you're not going to last forever doing it. So quality is dictated by you. That's my belief.
Okay, I like that. I'm definitely going to be thinking about that. So let's give some tips where people can take it away and apply. And so for me, just so you know, go to people like where your target market goes. Gary Vaynerchuk, I went to his feed. I go there and I look at his feed. I have one guy, I wish I should pull up on the screen. Gary Vee's talking about LinkedIn, the algorithm, the best, right? He's still saying that. And so this guy's comment, his name's David, says, what did he say? Why should we do it? No one reads our content anyway. And you could just hear the pain. So I go to this guy's LinkedIn profile. He's a CEO, is in my target market. And it's all stock photos. It's all ad looking things. Yes. 5 times a day, by the way. He has 1 like out of the 5 posts. So I reached out to him and we scheduled a meeting. Could you give advice or on stories or anything else that you think people can take away and apply today, Jonathan?
LinkedIn stories, yes. So with LinkedIn stories, I would treat LinkedIn stories like a television episode in comparison to your content, which is a movie.
Right.
You can turn, the nice thing about LinkedIn stories is now it's the bridge between each of your pieces of content. The thing is that with LinkedIn stories, what makes it unique is now it is about brand. Right. What are you going to do to get somebody to click on your face? So if people need to know who you are first, but if people don't know who you are, make your profile photo stand out. Something that I've said nowhere before, but I recommend it. I want somebody to try it. Change your profile photo to click here. And so, like literally like click here so that when people see your profile, like when you come up on LinkedIn stories and people are scrolling the faces and then they see click here, they're going to be like, that's kind of strange. What's this all about? And I want to see if that works. I want to see if it works.
Hey, everybody. Let us know and comment in below in this content. Let's see what happens with that.
I could see people starting to do that, changing their profile photos to a call to action or something to get people's attention just to click, because there's a lot of appeal in that. But like when it comes to LinkedIn stories, like I would say, treat it like episodic. What I've been testing is like creating like little miniature. Well, what I will say is make 3 stories.
Right.
Because somebody could just keep swiping. You don't know if they actually engaged in what you were doing. So when you create 3, if they watch the first one, the second one, and the third one, then you know you got them hooked. So that's just like some quick strategies that I would implement. Yeah,
that's good stuff. And then you can do a call to action on the third stuff.
Right.
I saw you had the before photo, the after photo, and then you had the call to action on that.
The call to action is important. You need them to either answer the question, to take whatever action they choose to, but there needs to be some type of action so you can get them in your inbox.
Yeah, so, I think the most important thing is, because we're kind of talking about click here, it's like, I don't know. You know what? You never know until you try something. When you try something outside your comfort zone that's different, remember we talked about SpongeBob's opposite day? That's the opposite.
Right.
It may not work, but from that, and you probably have seen this true, when you try something new, something that you haven't even thought about before, it's like, oh, wow, look at what came out of this. So where can people find you? Is it the Shay Rowbottom's boot camp? Where do they find you? And
like I would say search my content. It's under Jonathan Palmer. easy to
Great
find.
stuff, man. It's great stuff.
Yeah, like, and you can always send me a message if you have any questions about LinkedIn, or like you're not certain of how to figure out how to create content. Just make sure that you mention Chaz in the inbox. Say that Chaz brought me here so that I can go, get him some business out of it as well. But yeah,
Boom.
that's the way to reach me.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So reach out to Jonathan. It's just a great guy. And is this your focus right now with your job, as far as you do a side hustle on this, or is this everything that you do for Shay?
This is everything. Yeah, like it started like Shay said, can you be a walking testimonial? I was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool. And then with time, she was like, no, it's time for you to leave the accounting job, come work for me full time. And now this is the only thing that I do. So.
And you've been doing it for how long?
Since March. This has been the full-time gig. Wow. So I'm loving it. It feels like what I was meant to do. So every story.
You can see that in the videos. And that's why when you are you, yes, you will attract the right people into your life and the right clients into your business.
Right.
That's the secret sauce, isn't it?
It is.
Man, it took me a lot of years to understand and learn that. All right, everybody, reach out to Jonathan. Most importantly, go rock this day.
Kill it.
Boom.